Our last program of the season is going to be featuring Rachmaninoff's third piano concerto. This was Rachmaninoff's favorite concerto. He actually practiced this concerto on the way to Manhattan using a dummy keyboard. He barely had time to practice the piece before he came to the United States. And the piece was first performed 110 years ago in November of 1909. Interestingly, in the beginning of the next year, 1910, he did a performance with Mahler. It's wonderful to imagine the meticulous preparation that Mahler did with the members of the New York Philharmonic and the incredibly lithe and meticulous performing of Rachmaninoff. Even though Rachmaninoff's music is so romantic and big soundscape, he was in many ways more of a sort of an early romantic player. I think his style, his sound, in a way, is more like Mendelssohn in its kind of litheness and playfulness, not a sentimentality about it. Mahler, by the time that he was conducting in New York, had pared down his conducting style considerably, partly for health and perhaps maturity. He had been an extravagant conductor in his young years, absolutely riveting to watch and really on every single detail that was happening and galvanizing everybody. But by the time he's working with Rachmaninoff, he's conducting in a much more minimalist sort of way. So the combination of these two giants of composition and of performing must have been a really electrifying performance in 1910. The second half of the program is going to feature pictures of an exhibition of Mussorgsky. Mussorgsky wrote the piece originally for piano, but it wasn't until the early 20th century that composers started to arrange this for orchestra. In all, there are over 20 arrangements for orchestra, but the composer that won the prize, as it were, was Ravel. He orchestrated this in 1922, and this is the arrangement that we're going to be playing and is perhaps the one that's played the most. Mussorgsky's friend Hartmann, an artist, had an exhibition, and Mussorgsky went to it and walked from one painting, one etching, one drawing to the next, and decided to describe this musically. So we have the walking music, the promenade music between each of the vignettes or these paintings that are brought to life in sound. The piano piece is really virtuosic, very colorful. It's unique in that it features the saxophone in one of the movements. The percussion section is really grand for the Great Gate of Kiev. And then the woodwinds are used with wonderful sort of pointillistic effect to describe the chicken's legs and the pecking and a different movement. And the trumpet, of course, and the brass are featured quite nobly, and in particular the opening trumpet call, the promenade music, is presented at the beginning and throughout the piece. So a great climactic ending to this season of colorful, descriptive music that we're going to be presenting with the Pasadena Symphony.